Finally, we are back, and we're coming at you live here soon. Let's get it. Finally, the Buckeyes are back playing, man. We finally get an opportunity to change the tape. You know, I love bye weeks as a player, but now that I am as a fan, I hate it. I hate having not to see the Buckeyes play on Saturday. It's like something that I look forward to. So absolutely glad that the Buckeyes are playing this Saturday. Dustin, what's going on, man? Heard you you in Miami.
Behind me, you see a little the ocean back there. Yeah, I'm in South Beach. Well, not really South Beach. I'm in Brickell, which is a part of Miami. I'm downtown Miami. I was doing the FIU and Sam Houston game last night down here in beautiful South Florida, and I'm still here. So fly back this evening, and yeah, that's it, man. I'll be on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show tomorrow.
You better than me. I would have took the week off, you know. But I tell you what, the weather isn't that much different from here. It's like, dude, it's like 70 something degrees, 75 degrees down here in Columbus.
Well, it's beautiful in Ohio for this time of year. I will say this: that 70 whatever 75 you got is much different than this 87 and humid right now. And when we get off this podcast, I'm going to enjoy my last 2.5 hours at the pool and getting a little vitamin D because I may not see the sun because we become like vampires for the next, 6 months. Maybe we'll get a couple of days of sunshine. I mean, I don't know why I'm so positive about it. I'm really, really excited about, coming back to the deep and dark depression of Ohio.
Oh my goodness. Listen, I'll have you know, with global warming, that our winters are very mild. So, maybe we might not we might only get like one good snowstorm this year.
Honestly, I don't even mind the snow so much. It's just the gloomy days where it's just spitting snow and rain and sleet, and it's, like 37 degrees, 40 degrees, and it's just miserable. I feel like that's the global warming that you're talking about, and it's BS because it's not helping us. It's just making it worse. I'd rather be 27 degrees and give me like 8 inches of snow. Now let's clear the roads off. But at least I can look at snow.
The problem
I
with
can look at snow. Snow's fine. Snow's pretty.
I don't have a problem with snow. It's not the only issue that I have with snow is that people can't drive when it snows. That's my
sort of just preface that, as long as the roads are clear, I like having snow on the ground. It's like like I said, it's when it's raining and cloudy and just gloomy. It puts me in a bad way. It gets dark at like 5 o'clock. I mean, come on. Yeah, there's nothing appealing about that.
Knock on wood, we might not see it until like January. Hopefully, we're doing well right now. Anyways, the Buckeyes are playing Nebraska, and Nebraska is coming off of a beat down. Indiana really they put they foot to the pedal on them. Dustin, when you look at this matchup, does Ohio State have to win 56-7 to feel comfortable? Because Indiana is a sneaky team, and I think that they've woken up a lot of people. I don't think people was expecting them to beat Nebraska that bad, but since they did, you think that put pressure on the Buckeyes?
No, I don't think so, and certainly Vegas would agree with us or agree with me. So I'm not sure your thoughts on this are, but Ohio State's a 27-point favorite going into this game, and they should be. I thought that Nebraska was, I don't know if I'd say exposed, but you can say exposed, I guess, if you want to. I mean, shoot, I thought they were sort of exposed on a Friday night by Illinois, a game that everyone thought that Nebraska should win. Did you cover that game?
No, I wasn't at. No, Illinois played the Wolverines last week when I was there, and I haven't. I'm going to Nebraska next week.
Got it. Well, anyway, I just think that, Indiana did a really nice job of getting pressure on Raiola. And he just, that team's not built with their offensive line. They're not built to be, sitting back there throwing 40 times a game when you're down 21 points or whatever it was, early 3 touchdowns. Once it was whatever 21-7, like the game was pretty much over. So I also think that that Indiana is legit. I do. I think that. You don't think they're legit, or you do?
No, I do. Listen, they got the number 1 scoring offense, and they got the number 7 scoring defense. The thing with them is that they haven't. Everybody's saying, well, they haven't played anybody yet, and that's fair. But the games that they play, they look completely dominant in.
They've done everything and then some that you're supposed to do against teams you're supposed to take care of business against, and they're doing things. Not to get too far off tangent, we're talking Nebraska here, but like Indiana, they're doing above and beyond what they're supposed to be doing. Like, typically IU is, what are they right now? Are they 7-0?
Yeah. I think they ranked 13th, and I think they 7-0.
I think 7-0, right? And that's not what Indiana has been in a long time. Probably not since Bill Mallory was the coach way back before you were born there, Tyvis Powell. But,
I don't know who he is, so you're right.
Legendary coach for the Hoosiers. But anywho, I think that Ohio State is gonna. They're gonna come in this game. They're gonna be fresher than they've been. Having that bye week where it is. I actually like where it's at. Here in the middle of October, you get a nice little, I think, warm up. Maybe a little bit more than a warm up. Maybe one of those striders. Like when we're out there on the track. Not like full speed, but nice little glide here as you glide into the Penn State game the following weekend. So, yeah, man, I think that it's going to be a hell of a matchup for the Buckeyes this week. They're going to take care of business. Well, we can talk about it more, but
the thing that scares me about this game. Well, I'm not scared of anything. The Buckeyes will handle business. I'm not worried about them like losing the game or anything like that. The thing that I need to see, though, is they lost their left tackle, Josh Simmons. He's out for the season. That got confirmed. Ryan Day talked on Monday. I think he confirmed it. So I want to see the run game. Like, up until they played Indiana, Nebraska hadn't given up a rushing touchdown. Now, Indiana went in there and dropped 5 rushing touchdowns on them, but it tells me that they at least got a solid front 7, and I want to see if Ohio State, with the new left tackle in there, I think it's Zach McCalls, whatever. I can't think of his name. Anyway, he's going to be in there. I need to see if they can continuously run the ball because Josh Simmons was their best O-lineman from a PFF standpoint. He was actually rated like top 5 in tackles for the NFL draft this upcoming season. He's been doing so well. So it's a huge blow. And on top of that, coming into the season, one of the big things that they said was we don't have depth at the tackle position. And that was a spot that we couldn't afford to lose. So how do they manage it moving forward? Because you can't, just because the tackle's going, you can't not run the ball. And I think this will be a good test.
No, you have to run the football, and they'll be able to, I think, against Nebraska. But it's one of those situations where you're not playing Penn State this week. So you don't know exactly how it's going to fare, and hopefully, when that's guys who are filling in. What's that, buddy?
I think they play them next week. So.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying as you warm up into the Penn State weekend, which is going to be a by far the toughest challenge. Well, I actually think it's going to be tougher than Oregon, but we'll get into that next week.
What?
Yeah, I do. But, just back to this week in the run game, you got to you hopefully get those guys experience, who are stepping in for the starters. And, I'm actually not as concerned about that as I am the defense and the issues that we had against
what are you
Oregon.
Worried about? Because actually it came out, it was a big thing. See, this the perks about living in Columbus. You hear all the stuff. So the big thing from the loss and the bye week was everybody was saying how Jim Knowles and Larry Johnson are not on the same page. They feel like there's some tension there between the two. And people was asking me like, when you was there, how was Coach Johnson with the DCs? And I'm like, they were fine. And people think that it's some beef or something there, but a disconnect, I should say, between Coach Johnson and Jim Knowles. And Ryan Day came out Monday in that press conference, and he said no. He said he's been watching them very closely, both of them, and he said,
I thought that was interesting. I did see that.
He said he don't see nothing there, but that's weird. These guys been working together for just 3 years. They've been working together. Like, why would there? Why all of a sudden do people think it's something there? It's interesting. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand why there's frustration with people because you're not seeing you're getting these 5-star recruits on the D line, and we're not seeing the results on Saturday. So I get that. And then I also get that Jim Knowles has been notoriously wanting to put this jack position in the defense, and they haven't found the guy to do the jack position because they started with Jack Sawyer when he was a freshman, and it just failed miserably. So they got rid of it, and now they want to bring it back. But it's a whole bunch of stuff going on. But for what I've heard, there is no beef between Jim Knowles and Coach Johnson. So I want to get rid of that.
Yeah, I mean, I know Coach Johnson pretty well. I've known him for a long time. His days at Penn State, my brother played there. I mean, it's been 27 years that I've known Coach Johnson and his family. I can't imagine there's too many disagreements that man has with anybody. So I tend to believe Coach Day in this situation. And I did read some of his quotes this week, and he talked about how he spent, you mentioned it too, Tyvis, he spent a lot more time with the defense, something that he has not really done in the past, but he needs to. You're the head coach. When he made the decision to delegate the play calling duties to Chip Kelly prior to the season, like a ton was made about that. Because what it does is, when coaches are, so, locked into working on the game plan and what you're going to call during the game, I think they miss things. We saw it this week here with Kevin Stefanski in Cleveland. He's going to give the play calling duties to Ken Dorsey. That'll allow Coach Stefanski to be more involved with his team. And I think for Coach Day, you get to spend time with the defense. Not saying he's got to be in there like trying to coach the defense, but just being around those guys, not just the players, but the coaches. I do think it puts a certain level of pressure on them, a certain sense of urgency, if you will, which is probably a better way to put it, where we got to get stuff done. And, you got to do these little things, especially this time of the year, to secure your chance to make the playoffs. This is a different deal now. To mesh, to gel, to play together. That's why we talked about this, I think, a couple of weeks ago, talking about Army and Navy. It's like, why are these teams having success? Because they all are used to playing with each other. They're all used to trusting one another, their teammates. And when you don't do that, it really just takes one guy. One guy who's not in his assignment, not doing his assignment, not in his gap or his run fit, and you have a huge explosive play. And it might be just that one play that's the difference between Ohio State winning a national championship or not, frankly, or not winning a Big Ten title because of one bust in the back end in a game where you played better than the other team, like Oregon. I think Ohio State had the better players for the most part. I thought they sort of controlled the game, but they didn't make that one play they had to make, right? And they made the one mistake that you can't make, the one penalty here that you can't make. Like those things, you just have to clean up some of those little things, especially in those big games. And I like that Ryan Day is taking on that role. Just to circle back, taking on that role of being more involved with your team and, getting down to sort of the grassroots of what's going on with your organization. And I think sometimes coaches can miss a lot of things. And when you're not kind of jumping in, bouncing around, keeping people on their toes. I know Nick Saban at Alabama spent more than half of his time with the defensive backs because that's
what he used to do.
Yeah. I mean, he was a DB coach and probably the best one we've ever seen, frankly, or one of them at least. So, yeah, I like this move. I don't think it's going to create any sort of rift. I mean, certainly we would like the defense to play better than the 1,900 yards of total offense that they've been giving up. Thus far.
You know what I did? You know what I did read this week that was interesting to me? They asked them about Denzel Burke and was there ever a thought about pulling him in the game? And he said, yeah, we had the conversation of should we bench him, during the course of a game. And I thought that was interesting because Denzel is a guy that was coming into the season. He said he had like a first or second round grade on him, so day 1 or day 2 pick type grade. And to hear that, I think that is.
I don't even know why you say it though.
That's what I want to know.
Like, why? What's the point in saying it? Even if you thought about it, like you didn't bench him, okay?
Yeah,
and I'm assuming that. Yeah, no, it's a great point. I'm just sort of like agreeing with you. It sounds like I'm just kind of saying what you're trying to say, but no, I'm agreeing with you. It's interesting that they didn't bench him, but you thought about it. Like, okay, did you tell that to the player? Because if you didn't, why is it getting out to the media?
Listen. When I read it,
I can tell you one. I can tell you one thing, and this goes back to my junior. No, my. I'm trying to think. It was my junior year. My junior year. No, my sophomore year. I'm an idiot. 2002, and it was later in the year, and I was having some issues. I was playing corner for the first time, very similar to Denzel Burke. I was getting picked on. And I sort of like lost my confidence like late in the season. And the coaches, they never really thought about benching me. But they worked with me. Mike Doss was the one that came up to me and like totally picked me up and like had my back and covered for me to just get that confidence back. But in saying that, I want Denzel Burke to feel confident. I don't want him to go out there. You know how tough it is, Ty, to play when if you make one mistake or one error that you're going to be on the bench.
Yeah.
No one plays well like that.
Not
no
at
one
all.
plays well when they're tight. Look at Deshaun Watson in Cleveland. That dude was puckered as tight as you can imagine, wound as tight as you can imagine, whatever you want to say. And then he pressed, and there's probably more that's going on there. Maybe not a great comparison, but when you press, you don't play as well as you'd like, and that's sort of what I think where Denzel's at right now.
Yeah, when I read it, like I guess one of the reporters asked him about it, and when he said that and I read that, I was like, do you kind of costing him money, I got to cost him the money. So I wasn't a huge fan of that. Now ultimately Denzel's got to change the tape, and they're obviously going from now on, probably every game for the rest of the season. Scripted or unscripted, they're gonna chuck a deep ball to his side just to see, because he put that on tape. They're gonna take their best receiver, put it to his side. They're gonna chuck the thing deep just to see if he can play it. And he's got to make the plays. He's got to earn his money back. But it starts with practice. If I was him, if I was Ryan Day or Chip Kelly or whoever, I would literally every day, once a day in practice, I just chuck a fade just to see what he does. Anytime he's out there and he's pressed, I chuck a fade just to make him get used to it, because that's what he's gonna see, for the probably the rest of this season. And if they get it off, they're gonna continue to keep. And if he gets it off in practice, we're hurrying up, coming right back to the line. Boom, we running a slant or something. We're gonna go right back at him because he needs to get used to what potentially may happen to him. And that ultimately could say, I actually watched I watched Urban do this. Urban did this to Bradley Roby one day. Roby, obviously everybody know Roby's a first round corner. Roby was in practice one day and we was doing 7-on-7.
Okay.
And I promise you, Urban threw the ball at Roby, no lie, 5 times in a row, like 5 plays in a row, like boom, 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 and they kept catching them. And we was looking like, Roby, what you doing over there? Like, make a play. And that was the point. Urban was making the point that if we eat off of you, like every team's gonna continue to keep doing it. And it became this big thing where everybody was mad at him. He had an attitude about it, but I think ultimately it helped his career. And I told you I compare Roby and Denzel a lot because one, they trained together this offseason, this offseason or 2 off seasons ago. So they got like a really good relationship. Okay. And if you look at Roby's attitude and you look at Denzel's attitude, they're literally about the same. Like they carry themselves about the same. And I think that's what you got to do. You got to get him to get the confidence in himself. beat him up in practice, let him make plays in practice, because ultimately he's going against the best wide receivers every day in practice. So get him game ready, get him put Jeremiah over there, put Mecca over there, put these guys over there, throw at him in practice so he can make plays on the ball. So when he gets to Saturday, he'll say to himself, because he did it as a freshman, he said, I went up against Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson every day in practice. So when I got to the game, it was easy to me. And he needs to find that again, especially right now. Right now, when things is bad, everybody's talking about benching him and he's not good anymore and all of those things. This is the time to really go at him, just to get his mind right, because mentally he might be out of it. And you got to find a way to get that confidence back, and it starts in practice. So hopefully that's what they did, because Dylan Raiola is 1,000% going to do it. I'm just telling him. I'm just telling you now. Good thing is I've texted Denzel since the game. He's in good spirits. I told him the Marshawn Lynch quote. I said, Marshawn Lynch said, listen, I know I'm going to get got, but I'm going to get mine more than I get got, though. So you gotta change the tape. You're still the best in America, but you got to go out there and you got to change the tape. And he sent me the 100 emojis and appreciated the word. So hopefully it translates. So, yeah, that's my whole spiel on that. Now, I want to ask you more bigger picture about the CFP, because in about next week? Next week, I think the official ones come out next week. The first CFP poll come out. And there's a lot of questions and a lot of thoughts, because like a team like Indiana, like they're 13th right now, but when you look at their stats, like they're first in scoring, they're seventh in scoring defense, they've blown out all these teams, but yet they're not considered right now in the top 12. Do you think that's fair? Like, how would you judge it? Like, what matters to you the most? Is it strength of schedule? Is it who they beat? Is it who they've lost to? Like, what is the thing that qualifies teams for you to be not obviously not 1 through 4 or not the 12 seed, because those are conference champions, but that 5 through 11, what makes you what solidifies it for you for them to make that 5 through 11 spot?
I mean, my biggest thing is the eye test. Like, I watch a lot of college football, and I can tell you, at least I think I can tell you, like, who's good and who's not. I do think strength of schedule matters. I think common opponents matter. There's just a lot that factors in, but at the end of the day, like, I just think who's really good. Like, I think we know Ohio State's really good. I think we know Oregon's really good. I don't know we know how good Penn State is. Georgia, I don't know, because I think we don't know how good Georgia, Texas, or Alabama is, because there's been so much inconsistency right now in the SEC. I think it's going to take some time. And when I say time, I mean like another 3 weeks, when these teams all face their juggernauts on the schedule and we finally sort of hash things out. But the good news is, like, are we really going to complain about, does Texas A&M get in the 12 spot over Boise State, or whatever? Like, I'm sure we will, because that's just the nature of this deal. We argue about teams that don't make the tournament at the 16 seed. Like, why did they not get in? They won their whatever. It's like, that's just sort of the deal, right? I mean, you're never going to please everybody is the point I'm trying to make. You're not going to.
Is it at the point of making it 12? Because it was, when it was 4, it was the 5 and the 16 was upset. So now that you get 12, like, my thing is conference wise, like, does the Big Ten and the SEC get a huge boost because of the conference they're in? But you got like the ACC is a perfect one right now. You got Miami. Miami's sitting at 6. Problem is, Miami ain't had a tough game yet. I think their best win was Louisville. That's okay. Woo.
Well, I mean, they've had tough games. They've had tough games. I mean, they had a tough game against Virginia Tech that they should have lost probably.
Look, that's my point. Like, it's Virginia Tech. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, so strength of schedule has to play some type of part in it, I feel like, because they're battle tested. You got like I said, the ACC is the perfect example. They got Miami, Pitt, SMU, Clemson. Like, those 4 schools is like either undefeated or have one loss. But if they finish the season, like if they finish those seasons and every one of them had just one loss, would they get in over maybe a 2-loss SEC team who lost?
I don't know.
Whose 2 losses was Georgia and Tennessee or something like that.
No, I'm good. Go. Sorry, Tyvis. I got housekeeping coming in my bedroom here.
Oh no, you good. But yeah, like right. So like it was Georgia. Like say the SEC team lost to Georgia and Alabama or Georgia and Texas. Like, is that 2 losses because those teams are that good? Does that put them over a 1-loss ACC team who lost to Pitt? Like, I don't know, something like that. Like, it's interesting. I want to see how they gonna figure this out because it's interesting.
No, it is, and I think it's going to be really tough. I think it's going to be really tough for these folks on the committee to make these decisions. But when you're dealing with 2-loss, maybe a 3-loss team. I mean, I don't know how this thing is going to play out, but it's going to be difficult to make those decisions.
Well, we'll actually know obviously when they do the first one because they'll have teams in certain places. And what I like about it is that they give you reasons to why they put that team in that spot. So I guess we'll get the answer of what plays a part because I was talking to Ross Bjork before the season even started. And he was talking about like this season is going to be, it's like a guinea pig type season because does strength of schedule even matter? Like if Ohio State's 12-0, but they played nobody, like, does that still give? They're still going to be considered one of the top 12 teams? So what's the point of us playing a tough schedule? Like it doesn't matter. Like and I was sitting there thinking when he first said it, I was like, I don't think that's true. But then it's like, will teams take the easy route? The easy route is play an easy schedule, win your conference championship, and you're in no matter what. Like I'm in, right. But like that's not. Right. Obviously, TV companies ain't trying to hear that stuff though. So yeah, they not. If they paying all this money, they not trying to hear.
Hey, let me ask you a question, man. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that one of these Group of 5 teams, who are in the top, whoever's the highest ranked Group of 5 team that is
the Army?
Right now, I'm just looking at the AP top 25 right now, and Group of 5. I mean, you're looking at right now Boise State.
They can do it.
That is ranked 17.
Now they took you. Remember now, they was a field goal away. They lost to Oregon, the number 1 team in the country, by just a field goal. Just saying.
That was early though, right? Wasn't that early in the year?
That was like the second game of the season.
Yeah. I don't know, but I know that they have the best running back in the country.
For sure. That's not even Army's quarterback is Army in Indiana.
Army's yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
They're the only 2 schools that have not trailed at all this season.
It's pretty wild.
Army and Navy gonna be that's
if you get down to them 7 or 10 to nothing, like you're screwed because they'll make sure that you have 4 more possessions. And this year, by the way, Army and Navy both have pretty solid defenses.
They both got a chance to get in, and the sick thing is after they do the thing, they still got to play the exhibition game against each other, which I don't think that matters. Well, it matters to them, but like I don't think it matters like record wise because the CFP would already have came out by then. So, but the fact that they both are like in it like that right now, like I tell you what, I would not want to play the Navy in the CFP. I really, because if you play the Navy and you only get like a week to prepare for that thing, and they good. Like even if you win the game, it's gonna mess you up for the next week.
That's why. I mean, you could talk to Urban Meyer or like Tressel or talk to Ryan Day, like any of these. Hell, any coach Power 4 across the country, like a big time program, they won't schedule an academy. They'll want
No,
to schedule. I mean,
I'll
you'll schedule them week 1
No,
because you got the
scheduled
whole
on
offseason to work on
We
it.
scheduled on week 1, and guess what happened? We won and then lost the next week to Virginia Tech.
That's right, because you guys probably were just so locked into that stupid triple option. It's actually not stupid. It's really smart.
I tell you what, I can now defeat cut blocks better than anybody. We went over that drill every day. I can defeat a cut block easy. Even to this day, it's just instinctually. You kill the head.
They still rolling those medicine balls out at you.
Yes, yes.
They gotta push down on them.
Yes,
crazy, man.
Absolutely. All right. Enough of that. What's your prediction for the game? Give me your score prediction. You've been pretty good, you know?
Yeah, this will be 41-17.
You giving them 17 points. I'ma say,
yeah. Dude, their quarterback's solid. I mean, they don't have a great offensive line to protect him, but I mean he's solid.
The quarterback the guy that should
be exposed a little bit when it comes to like dealing with pressure, but that's any quarterback.
If he would have just stayed committed to Ohio State, he would have a decent offensive line. But anyways, and he have the weapons, but that's another story. 41-17. That's a good score. I'm going to say 27 is the cover. 27 and a half.
26. I think it's 26 and a half. I believe.
Okay. I'm gonna say they cover. 45-10. 45.
Okay. I mean, I thought about giving them 10 instead of the 17, but I thought maybe they get a late score.
Yeah, 45-10. That sounds
the old backdoor cover.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all again for tuning in another week. Make sure y'all leave y'all score predictions in the comments section below. We'll catch y'all next week. Peace.